One number made a company worth $74 billion. That number was fake. Nobody caught it for years. Then it took 24 days to destroy everything. This is Enron. And the trick they used is still legal today. Fortune called it America's most innovative company. 6 years running. Nobody asked how. Not one single year. Enron's real business was pipelines. Boring. Unsellable to Wall Street. So executives invented a new kind of math. Mark-to-market accounting. Book profit the second a deal is signed. Not when the cash arrives. Based purely on a guess of future value. One that could swing wildly and nobody outside the room would ever know. 20-year contract. Book all the profit today, all at once. Paid for a marathon before lacing up your shoes. And nobody checks if you ever actually run it. Once you can invent profit, hiding losses gets easy. That's the part nobody saw coming. Andrew Fastow, Enron's CFO, Harvard trained, universally trusted right up until he wasn't. He built hundreds of shell companies, gave them harmless names. Chewco, LJM, named after his own kids' initials, hiding in plain sight the entire time. Their only job was to swallow Enron's failing bets, one by one, quietly. On paper, the losses disappeared. In reality, they moved into the basement. Beautiful front lawn, 100 trash bags downstairs, growing daily. Nobody's allowed down there. That basement was always going to flood, and somebody inside already knew exactly when. For years, nobody looked. The stock kept climbing. Executives cashed out hundreds of millions, told employees to keep buying, right up until the final months. Arthur Andersen, one of the 5 biggest auditors on earth, signed off every year and collected huge consulting fees from the company they were policing. Who audits the auditor? Nobody. That was the entire scheme, and it worked. Right up until one person refused to accept the answer she was given. Then, one reporter asked a simple question in print. How does Enron actually make money? Nobody inside the company could answer. Not the CFO, not the board, not even, some say, Skilling himself. One question. That's all it took to unravel a $74 billion company. A single sentence in a magazine nobody thought would matter. An executive named Sharon Watkins had already warned the CEO in a private memo months before anyone outside the company had a clue. Said she feared the company would implode in scandal. She was right. Word for word, that memo would later become one of the most quoted documents in corporate history, studied in business schools for the next 2 decades. Being right didn't save her job. It didn't save the company either. By October, Enron admitted it overstated profits by hundreds of millions. The stock crashed from over $90 to under $1 in weeks. Traders who'd worked there for decades watched their screens in disbelief. Here's the part that still makes people angry. Employees' retirement funds were locked into company stock and frozen during the exact weeks it collapsed. They weren't even allowed to sell. Executives were. Some did, just days before the freeze. The 2nd of December, 2001. Bankruptcy. The largest in American history at the time. 20,000 people lost their jobs in a single day. Many had their entire retirement in that frozen stock. Stock now worth nothing. Some had worked there for over 20 years. Arthur Andersen collapsed too. 85,000 employees gone for shredding documents tied to the investigation. Kenneth Lay was convicted, died before sentencing. Jeffrey Skilling, the man who once insulted a skeptical analyst live on a public earnings call, got 24 years. One of the harshest white-collar sentences ever handed down. Andrew Fastow, the man who built the entire maze, cooperated with prosecutors, served just over 5 years. The architect got the lightest sentence of anyone. The man who built the entire maze walked out first. 1 year later, Congress passed the Sarbanes-Oxley Act. Executives now had to personally certify their own numbers under criminal penalty. For the first time in American history, one company broke trust so badly, Congress had to legislate honesty. But legislation doesn't erase a method. It just adds paperwork around it. Here's the part nobody tells you. Mark-to-market accounting still exists. More regulated. Still legal. Companies still book value before it's actually earned. The exact trick that ended Enron is still sitting on the shelf, waiting to be used again. The fire got put out. The matches stayed on the table. Someone else just has to strike them. So next time a stock chart only goes up, no dips, no doubts, no bad quarters ever mentioned. Ask the exact question that ended a $74 billion empire in 24 days. How exactly does it make money?